been a troublemaker. I've been a late-night player. I've been broke as a joke. I've been a money maker. I've been a record breaker, taking credit as an educator. I've been known to spit the flows and make a shaky, shaky thing. Popping, locking, stopping, let it hang. Watch us as we drop this hip-hop, it's like it stings. We make the whole room drop and everybody sing. We want the funk. We gotta have that funk. We kick it old school. We think we're so cool. We take it back to the past. We go act a fool. Up jumps the middle finger.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Sports Buzz, a Fanatical View. I am your host, Scott D. Lewis, here live in studio, Comcast Cable, Channel 23, downtown Dimmock, Connecticut, on this November 7th. Suddenly rainy November 7th. A little rain on the way in here this evening. I guess it was good to held off during the day, but wet overnight. Might clear up tomorrow, I think.
I think so. It's going to be cold, though.
Going to be cold. Down 20 degrees Saturday?
Yeah, it's supposed
Saturday
to be like,
night?
the high is supposed to be like 40, 45.
Going to be chilly. We've definitely had a few frosts and either warnings or a few people have already gotten zapped. Got a few things in the garden still alive. I gotta pull those herbs out of the garden. That's what I gotta do. Pull the herbs. Hope everybody had a happy Halloween. We were off last week.
I did. Well, sort of.
Well, it was Bob's birthday.
Yeah, but I had to go out and work. It was because it's windy, rainy that night.
Heavy winds that night.
Yeah, I was out till like 3 a.m. doing fire police.
For the most part, the trick-or-treaters got lucky.
Yeah,
because
we had that window.
Stopped. Yeah, that window for people to get out, where a little mist maybe, but mostly no rain, just wet on the ground. Heavy winds though.
Yeah, with 50-mile-an-hour gusts in some spots.
Yeah. So let's officially say hello to the week-old birthday boy. More than a week old. Bob Broad Jr.
Hi, Scott.
How you doing over there, Bob?
All right. I'm waiting. Me and Mike, we're waiting for the dumpster bowl.
The dumpster fire bowl this weekend.
Yeah.
The Met Maniac Jet Fanatic is here. Mike McFadden. We're at our new time. And also live on Facebook, still streaming if somebody pressed the button. But a new time, 7 o'clock, is working well for
yes.
the Met Jet Fanatic so far. Although we got to keep him up later as he gets in here to do the show at 7. How you doing over there, Mike?
I'm doing okay.
All right, good to see you. And here at the top of the hour, top of the show.
Yeah.
Our new time slot, 7 to 7:30. I got to get used to it myself, but I kind of like the extra half hour. Gives us a little time.
Well, especially once we get into, the holiday rush. It gets to be a little bit more hard to get down here.
The only problem is it's pitch black out now by 5 o'clock.
I know.
And I'm thinking, what time is it? I got to go do a show.
Yeah.
I got to go out, and then it starts raining. Anyways, 203-792-4101 is the number. We missed a few things last week, but we have to break down the investigation on what's going on in the swamplands of the Meadowlands.
Yeah,
there's a missing cat, but more than that, there's 2 missing football teams.
Yes.
No professional football being played in the Meadowlands. The Giants tried to use a little excuse of a black cat running on the field.
We tried to do that 69 Mets, with the bringing the black cat out, and hopefully it would work.
Too bad the game wasn't on Thursday.
I know.
The Thursday night game, it was the Monday night game instead, so Halloween had already come and gone. But the black cat, he did rush for a few yards there, had some pretty good numbers. And there we see the Giant fans. You cost us the game with the black cat.
There is more than, I forget how many feral cats they said at Giant Stadium.
Yeah, apparently there's a bunch there, and the staff, the grounds crews, they take care of them. They feed them. A lot of cats, and that cat ran free, right?
Yeah.
Never was actually caught, and showed some moves, some better moves than the Giants. I think he actually got in the end zone.
Yeah, that's something the Giants didn't do much.
They were up 9-3 and driving.
Yeah.
And they gave the Cowboys defense a little breather, and then it was all over after that. But really, so now the Giants at 2-7. It's been how many weeks since the Danny Dimes hoopla of the comeback against the Bucs has it been now?
Yeah.
They've lost.
Will we see Eli?
Well, they beat the Redskins the following week, and now they've lost other games since, and not looking too good at all.
Maybe Eli will make an appearance.
A return?
Hey, come back this weekend. Have a ball. What's
against
going to happen?
The in-house rival, the New York Jets. Jets at 1-7. I'll tell you, I'm not really a gambling man, and I feel bad saying this in front of the Jet Fan-atical. But if I was, I would have put all the money in the world down on the Dolphins to beat the Jets last week. I thought it was perfectly set up. Gaze, the former Dolphin coach, Fitzmagic was QBing for the Dolphins, and then the Jets stink. So there's just that. And sure enough, they lost. That had to be a new low. Where do you rank that on the all-time lows there, Mike?
That's up there. You'd have to probably go back to maybe some of the Rich Kotite years to match that.
I saw, we were talking about dumpster fire games this week. So Giants versus Jets, 2-7 Giants, 1-7 Jets. Do you think they've ever played a game where both teams were at this low of a point?
I don't think so.
I mean, they only play every 4 years, so it's not like a regular thing.
No.
And it just seems like I don't recall them both being this rock bottom.
I mean,
both with the young quarterbacks who theoretically are supposed to be promising.
I don't even think even in the preseason when they play each other was that bad, you know?
So this is definitely going to be one of the worst. I was saying before the show, I went to see the Patriots play the Jets early 90s, both teams. Browning the Bagel.
Yeah.
And I don't even remember who was QBing for the Patriots, but it was 6-3 final. I think the Patriots were on the winning end 6-3. I was with my buddy Andy, who was a Jets fan. It was a cold, bitter cold day. He made it onto HBO Films, actually, in with marching in with a big Jet flag. And then we both made it on the TV broadcast. So that was the highlight of a 6-3 game. And maybe the strip club afterwards was kind of a highlight, but we shouldn't really go down that road. Hello, Crazy Vince, on the way back. Anyways, all right. So, what do you guys expect out of this? Is it a loser leaves the swamp? Can we kick a team out of the building if one of these teams, whoever loses?
Well, let's see. The Giants are the away team, right?
Yes.
Because the Jets are home. So So I imagine the. But now how will the grounds be painted? We be painted Jets.
Jets, yeah.
Yeah.
They get all the Jets paraphernalia, the Jets swag out there. So it's a Jets home game. I don't know.
It's like I said.
Mike, where are you at with this? You want them to lose this game? You want them to get some pride? Or you want them to keep going for the number one pick? You want Gaze gone?
I want Gaze gone.
Gaze is, I mean, this didn't last long with him at all.
No.
But we talked about the game against the Patriots where Darnold was mic'd up, and that sequence on the sideline, which was just like amateur hour right there. I was like, am I watching a high school football game? The way he was dealing with his, young star, up-and-coming quarterback, talking to him like he was a 14-year-old on the sideline was just not a good look. I thought that was even more of a bad look than I'm seeing ghosts, which we've heard a lot about. No one's really gone back to that sideline.
Well, one weekend we got ghosts. This weekend we got black cats. What's next week?
Who knows?
And the question is, Bob, you're a firefighter.
Yes.
Have you ever had to go save a cat out of a tree?
No.
No. I mean, because they haven't been able to find this cat, so they call in the firefighter crew.
Maybe they should have him. Well, the only thing is, though, they might find more than one black cat.
Wait, drop the graphics, Suero, so we can see his stat line. I can't see the stats over his graphics, over the call-in number there. There you go, 117 rushing yards, 2 T's, 9 lives.
Yeah.
Wow, what a stat line from the black cat.
Good stats.
Good.
One thing though, Scott. Now, if there's more than one black feral cat in that bunch,
yeah, I'm sure there is.
There might be like, you ever see that Bugs Bunny cartoon where the tortoise and the hare, he calls up all his cousins to come in and drive Bugs nuts.
These cats are going to drive some people nuts.
They may have more than one come out that
Somebody
game.
needs to get the rescue shelter out there. So no real, nothing really to look forward to for either one of your teams. But who do you think this would be a worse loss for?
Probably the Giants.
If the Giants lose this game?
That'll make them 2-8.
Yeah, I mean the record I don't think is a bigger thing. I think more of the pride
I think it's
factor.
more of
who would this hurt more? I mean the Jets got to be feeling
I think
that.
it would hurt the Giants more if they lost.
I think
because
so.
I think most of the people are resigned to the fact that the Jets are going to suck the rest of the year. You know.
Why is not Le'Veon Bell getting any carries or any touches?
I have no idea.
Because if you give him touches, you might win the game.
Did you think Jets fans in Week 1, when he scored that 2-point conversion after I think he scored the touchdown too, correct? And was celebrating wildly. The fans were going nuts. You're beating the Bills. What were you up 14-0 in that game or 16-0?
I think it was
the final 16-14 or 18 something. It was around there. But anyway,
C.J. Mosley got injured.
Right.
And then that changed the game.
That changed their
then
season.
Of course, we had the blue flu.
But do you think the Jet fans at that moment thought that would be the last time they'd be celebrating all year? I mean, it has been bottom out fast from there.
So now, if it ends, if we have like we were talking, it might be a field goal night all the way through, and then end in a tie. Would it be
I mean, end in a tie.
It's a 1 o'clock game, so anything could happen.
Oh, that's right. It's a 1 o'clocker.
Yeah, it's not like it's on at prime time, 8 o'clock at night.
Why? And this is another thing that's been interesting about the NFL and the scheduling. 2 years ago, maybe 3 was it, the first time they ever scheduled Jets and Giants at the same time slot?
Yeah.
And now it's somewhat regular that happens.
Right.
It never was done before. That's just a sidebar interesting thing. Okay, so my Patriots didn't have a good week either.
No, you guys got your first loss in a long time.
Well, yeah, no longer undefeated. The 49ers, the only undefeated team, 8-0. I don't mind losing. I mean, I hate the Ravens. Phony bunch of tough guys. Anytime they lose to the Patriots, they cry a river about the refs. But when they win, they pump their chest. But anyways, they did run all over the Patriots in this game. I was shocked when the Patriots cut it to, after the turnover even, and they still came right down the field and scored early in the second half.
Right.
They looked like they were poised to, make a comeback after being down 17-0 and come back and possibly win the game. But to give up 2 more, 12-play drives in the second half?
Right.
Early in the game, maybe they're caught off guard a little bit. There was a couple bogus offsides calls that helped the Ravens in that first half. But they settled down. And then, you have halftime. You have the Patriots come out, drive in the second half, turnover, get the kickoff, drive, score. So there was a long period of time that the defense was off the field. So maybe they lost whatever they had gained in the second quarter when they started shutting the Ravens down. And then all of a sudden it was just like Ravens converted that 4th down, and it was pretty much over after that. So I was surprised the way that game went. I don't think it means all that much in the long term. Patriots will figure this out. They are famous for not wanting to show certain teams things during the season if they think they might have to play them again in the postseason. So they may have been running out some packages that they didn't want to really reveal. But offensively, they were clicking. They didn't, slow start typical of the Patriots right now, but they started to get it going. So I don't think they have an issue as far as being concerned about being able to score if they see the Ravens in the postseason. But that was ugly, and of course, all the talk was they hadn't played anybody this year.
Right.
So that doesn't look good when you go against one of the better teams now and you get run over like that. They got the bye week this week, and then they get the rematch with the Eagles from the Super Bowl a couple years ago. Eagles have kind of rebirthed themselves after falling down. They're back at 5-4. AFC, let's just run through it real quick. Patriots on the bye. But they are 8-1. Bills and Ravens 6-2. Texans and Chiefs 6-3. Patrick Mahomes coming back this week, we think. Colts 5-3. Brissett probably playing this week, I think, after coming out.
I would say so.
He was hurt in that game. Didn't seem too serious. I have him as one of my 2 quarterbacks on my fantasy league that I'm in first place.
By the way, how's it doing?
First place, 7-2 on the year. I fell out of first place for a week, but back in it this week. So I'm happy about that. Raiders, Steelers 4-4. Steelers, how about the Steelers recovering?
Yeah.
Jets can't make excuses because the Steelers aren't making any excuses.
Right. Exactly.
They just have organizational stability, and they go out and get the job done, winning 3 in a row now after being 1-4. 4-4. Chargers also, after being 2-5, now win 2 in a row, including shutting down the Packers completely and getting healthy. A lot of times, you know, you kind of look at that and say, how much of a big deal is that? But it can be a big deal. And apparently the Chargers, if you watch part of that game, that's what a lot of the announcers were talking about. Key players coming back. They looked pretty good, especially defensively. Jaguars and Titans also still alive at 4-5 in the NFC. Packers, well, you got the 49ers 8-0, Saints 7-1, Packers after laying an egg in San Diego 7-2, also Seahawks 7-2, Vikings also. How about that? The NFC North, Central, whatever you call it.
Right.
All those teams lost. The Lions lost to the Raiders, the Vikings lost, the Packers lost, and who was the other team in that division? Oh, the Bears. Bears free falling badly.
Who's on tonight?
Tonight is Chargers Oakland.
Yeah.
Which is a big game right now because the Raiders 4-4, Chargers 4-5, trying to build off the momentum of a couple weeks. Raiders hanging around, winning some of these games, playing pretty well. Other good games this week. Also just finish out Cowboys, Panthers 5-3, Rams, Eagles 5-4. Chargers at Oakland tonight, Kansas City at Tennessee, Rams at Pittsburgh, Carolina at Green Bay, Minnesota at Dallas, and Seattle at San Francisco. I think that's the Monday night. Minnesota at Dallas, I think, is Sunday night.
Right.
6 teams on the bye this week. I don't like that many teams on
lot.
the
That's a
bye.
lot.
6 teams? That's too many. We haven't really talked too much. We've been checking in a little bit about college. I have not watched a down, I don't think, of any college football this year.
No.
You guys in on any college football?
No.
Clemson, how about that? Defending national champion out of the. This is the first week of the BCS playoff standings, right? And they did not make the top 4. Shocking. I mean, they're undefeated. Ohio State, number 1. LSU, Bama, and Penn State. So 2 SEC, 2 Big Ten. No love for the ACC and the defending champion Clemson. Big game this weekend, LSU at Bama. Penn State, how about this? Minnesota, 8-0, ranked 17th.
Yeah.
Why are they so far down the line? You got teams with 2 losses ahead of an undefeated team in the Big Ten,
Right.
which has 2 teams in the top 4. Somebody needs to explain the math to me, because that doesn't seem to add up at all. So Minnesota could shock Penn State. Penn State better not overlook that game because they got Ohio State looming after that. So a couple big tests for Penn State. It'll all get shaken up. This is why, I mean, I think the whole thing's basically a TV show. One of the reasons why I don't watch college football anymore, because they do these things with the rankings and they kind of manipulate it so that you have to pay attention. They release this and you're like, oh, wait a second. We have to pay attention. What's going on? Clemson's out. And they make it so that it has to be a talking point and a thing. How about college basketball started this week? I was not ready for that.
No, me either. It's
I'm
too
like
early.
seeing all of a sudden headlines and notifications coming up. I'm like, what? Duke and Kansas? What's going on?
Yeah.
So yeah, and Kentucky, all these teams just retool, get new players. You're supposed to know what's going on.
I was looking at the UConn girls already. That's, you know, the lineup looks pretty good.
Well, it's been a few years now since they won. They're starting to mount some pressure on these players as they just went through that whole class, didn't win.
Right.
So we'll see if they can bounce back, and we'll see if Danny Hurley in his second year now, and UConn back in the Big East.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens there. It'll be interesting to see because I thought the AAC didn't get enough respect. I think there's a lot better teams in that conference than
time.
Talking about how much time?
Yeah.
What do we got?
A little under 10.
All right. So we'll see if like UConn leaves that conference and actually does better being back in the Big East.
Right.
Where some of these teams all due respect to my dad and his beloved Providence, you know, all of a sudden Providence starts winning a lot of games, and all these teams leave the Big East, and they get their rankings because the Big East is the Big East with name only.
Right.
And teams like Seton Hall, Providence, all of a sudden are showing up in the March Madness and getting top 20 rankings because they play in the Big East when they couldn't win games to save their lives.
Right.
When all the actual Big East teams were there. So it'll be interesting to see what UConn does going back to the Big East. Also, second year for Coach Hurley, trying to get that program back on the map. Touch on a couple of things. I want to wrap up the World Series a little bit, get your thoughts on that. But MLS final is this weekend. The top seeds are out. And so it's Seattle Sounders versus Toronto FC Sunday afternoon at 3. With all those bye weeks for the NFL, maybe not some great games. If that Jets-Giants game's a stinker, maybe tune into the MLS final.
There you go.
Catch some good action. Champions League, round 4 of this group stage was this week. Pretty much the top teams are all in good shape. Group H is the only group that has some real drama playing out, and that's Ajax, Chelsea, Valencia, each tied with 7 points each. Chelsea, of course, we're keeping track of because the American wonder kid Pulisic plays for them. And after a slow start where he was not even playing, some games not even suiting up for Chelsea, he has been playing a lot and he has been contributing a lot. I think he had a hat trick, as a matter of fact, recently, but he is playing extremely well and played well in the 4-4 thriller against Ajax the other day in Champions League. But the top teams, for the most part, all looking like they are going to be clear and through, but that is the tight division down there at Group H. World Series.
I wasn't all that thrilled about the World Series.
I watched a lot of the World Series. I did not watch too much of the games in D.C. They were on the weekend.
Yeah.
My sister was visiting. I did watch that game 5 Sunday night. But very interesting that all 7 games won by the road team. I think that's the first
World
time.
Series Harry, sister.
Yeah, gotta be.
Yeah.
You guys are rivals with the Nationals. Any thoughts on them getting it done after whatever many years? I mean, they've had a good regular season, have not gotten it done until this year.
Right.
And once Bryce Harper left, they were ready to go.
I mean, it was definitely different, you know. But I mean, Strasburg had a great game.
Strasburg, amazing.
You know,
MVP.
but he opted, and now he's opted out of his contract. So.
Right. I still think there's a chance he'll stay, but he might get a better deal.
Well, I know where he won't go.
Mets.
But
will he
we
go
can't
to
afford
I
him.
don't think he'll go to the Yankees. Will he go to the Yankees?
Yeah, the Nationals got hot at the right time because if you remember in the Dodgers series, that home run by Kendrick was a killer shot. I mean, they just happened to get the, you know.
They had the magic.
Yeah,
They had something
absolutely.
going on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Rallied against the Brewers, down 3 in the wild card game. Rallied against the Dodgers, won that game 5 after being down. All the rallies came after the 7th inning. Rallied in game 7 against the Astros. Zach Greinke was dealing through 6, gave up the solo shot. And the Astros, this is what I talked about with the Astros against the Yankees, even though they beat the Yankees. Sorry, Tyler. We didn't mention Tyler is here running audio. Tyler's very happy about his Saints, even though they're on a bye week, but they are playing well. And of course, El Diablo, DJ Malo, the director. But the one thing I talked about was that the Astros left a lot of guys on base. They were not putting together big innings where it was moving guys along, having rallies. The Nationals, on the other hand, were hitting home runs, but they were also having, you know, consecutive hits. I mean, in this day and age, it's either home run or bust for a lot of these teams, but the Nationals had rallies where guys got on base, they stole a base, hit and run. You know, they put up 3-4 runs. They padded their leads late, so the games they won. They didn't have much stress in the late inning bullpen situations. And for the 3rd straight year, though, it was a team utilizing starting pitching in relief, winning it. The Astros did it against the Dodgers. Red Sox did it last year. and the Nationals did it this year. And ironically enough, the Astros were left holding the bag when Garrett Cole never got in this game.
No.
Winning 2-1 with Garrett Cole warmed up and ready in the 7th inning. They don't go to him and they lose. I don't know. I think I might have left Greinke in the 7th and had Cole come out for the 8th, but they pulled him, went to a reliever, and he gave up the. It was a foul pole home run.
Right.
It wasn't a blast. He poked it down the line, got out. Tough break for the Astros. Was it karma for the Astros? We know about some of the off-field stuff with their front office, their executive who, took those shots at the female reporters in the locker room. They signed what's-his-face from Toronto, the guy who had the domestic violence, and he was championing that even though he blew the save against the Yankees and they won anyways. So that was clearly bad on him. And the other thing was Bregman with the home runs and the trots, showing off and showing up the other team. No one has ever seen a guy hit a home run and carry his bat all the way to first base and try to hand it to his first base coach who had no idea what to do and then dropped it in the field of play around the bag. And Soto completely jumped him by imitating him when he hit the home run later in that game to put them up. So maybe some karma for the Astros. Who knows? How about Beltran going to the Mets? As Strange Man texted me, king of the caught looking, which Bob was talking about before the show.
Yes.
I think Mike over there doesn't mind it so much.
Because when you factor in the fact that Gerard is gone, for some reason they didn't have any interest in Buck Showalter. There really was no one left. I mean, other the guys who were left, Perez, Bogart, and Beltran.
Right.
To me, you might as well give Beltran a try. He was working in the Yankees front office. Plus, he had a tremendous career. Give him a try.
He did. He had a great career with the Mets.
He's been, unlike Boone, he's been in the dugout.
Yep.
He's been earning his stripes by managing on a lower level.
Yep.
All right, we're inside a minute. No real time to get to the NBA. I'll just mention the Celtics at Charlotte tonight. Kemba Walker making his return to the play against his former team, the Hornets. But the Celtics 5-1 after that opening night loss. Kemba looking good in green. Knicks 1-7. Yipes. And the Nets 3-4, not so great. But the Islanders, we got to mention hockey. Islanders have won 10 in a row. And still in second place, which means the Capitals have been playing tremendous because they're 11-3-0 and they're behind the Capitals. Bruins 11-2-2, actually more points than the Islanders. They had their 6-game winning streak snapped by Les Habitants Canadiens last night.
The only thing for Monday is Veterans Day.
Yes.
Please have everybody come out. The ceremony's at 11 o'clock at War Memorial.
War Memorial Monday, Veterans Day. Salute them all. Hats off to them all. Thank you for your service, and thank you for tuning in. See you next week.